Hey guys, it's Cheryl Lawson. Thanks for tuning in. Today I thought this was going to be a little off topic because I have a kind of personal issue going on, but it's not off topic. I talk a lot about social media for pet related businesses and causes. It is on topic. So, this tonight I'm talking about social media and pets, but I want to give you a little backstory about why I was motivated today specifically to talk about this, and then I'll give you some some hints and tips about marketing online and using social media for your pet related businesses or a business period and you're an animal lover. All right, so. Um, my dog tweets, right? My dog has a Twitter account. She tweets at I'm a Jack Russell, and I say she because it's her voice. But I'll give you the backstory on how that happened in a second. But suffice it to say, no, maybe here, I'll just tell you how that started. So back in 2008 or 2009 or so, when I started using Twitter, I had an account for Party Aficionado, and I was tweeting things business related and event related stuff. And every day I'd go out on my walk, and I like many of you, I didn't get Twitter at first. I really didn't, but because I was always in front of my computer and Twitter's at the time it was what are you doing? Right now, Twitter's little statement is what's happening, so it makes it a little bit more newsworthy than just all about you. So, I would sit there and think, well, what am I doing? I'm sitting in front of my computer. 2 hours later, I'm sitting in front of my computer. What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm doing the same thing. So I thought, how could anybody be interested in what I'm doing? But it wasn't until I got a smartphone, the very first Android G1 phone, I got that. And so I started tweeting from my phone. And that's when Twitter really came alive for me. I went to an event. I was living in Riverside, California at the time, and they brought in um, the beach volleyball, the AVP tournament that all of the players from that year's Olympics, and they shipped in sand to downtown Riverside. And Riverside's inland, of course, in desert area. Most people know it is on the way to Vegas, but so I thought, okay, I'm always talking about there's nothing to do here. Let me go do this event, and I'll tweet live from the event. So, at the time I had maybe two followers. I don't think I knew either of them. One of them I think was Barack Obama, and the other one was a total stranger. So I was pretty sure nobody was really paying attention to what I was saying. And but I went ahead and tweeted as if I had thousands of followers already. So I went to the event and I said, oh, this is the sponsors here, and I took a picture and I uploaded it, and I tweeted about how interesting the guys looked wearing the little shorts and no shirts, and just some really kind of fun things about the particular event that I was in. And at the end of that day, Naked Juice, the company that sells the kind of smoothie juices, where they're giving away kind of their products, as the conference was ending or the event was ending. And one guy said, hey, I can put four of these jugs of Naked Juice in that bag. I think KFC was giving away the little cooler bags. So I was like, sweet. So I tweeted, hey, I just scored, four jugs of Naked Juice. And the next day, I had a response or reply on Twitter from whoever was using the Naked Juice account saying, hey, Cheryl, that was a good score. Wait a minute. And that was really when the light went on is wait a minute. When somebody mentions you, your product, your brand, your industry, the things that you're interested in, you can connect with them. So I'm following them. They're following me. Now I can find out when they're going to be on sale at my local store or when a new flavor comes out or whatever it is, right? So that's really when the light kind of came on for me with Twitter. And then I started thinking, okay, I will be the party aficionado and I'll tweet about events, live events, and I kind of used it as an extension of me trying to help other event planners and connect with that community, the other event planners on Twitter, and which was a really great community and growing and community at the time. So I was tweeting mostly that kind of stuff, and then I would be out on walks and I'd take a picture with my phone, of course, of my dog or of the sun, and I'd tweet, "Oh, it's a beautiful day in California." Well, after a few days of that or weeks of that, I thought, okay, people following me for business don't necessarily want to see it's a beautiful day in Southern California every single day. So I tweeted a photo of, so I decided to create a Twitter account for the dog um, and let her do it because we were on her walk anyway. So when she tweeted it was a beautiful day for a walk, she was actually on the walk, right? So I could have a different voice and be kind of silly and frivolous and self-centered, but self-centered from the dog's point of view, right? So, my dog can tweet pictures of her all day, all day, every day, and everybody loves her. Me, you, we can't do that, right? And be like, okay, get over yourself, right? So, um, so I started the account, and back up even more. I had my dog had this encounter at the park with a lizard, and I don't know if you know Jack Russells or not, but she was obsessed with this lizard in a hole. And what was really funny is the lizard had been gone for like 5 minutes. And the lizard came up right next to her while she's really obsessing over the lizard in the hole. Of course, the lizard comes up right next to her, sticks his head up as lizards do. My dog, Precious, looks at the lizard and then goes back to obsessing over the hole, right? And I just thought that was hilarious. And I heard the voices in my head of those two animals and that encounter, the good kind of voices in my head. And so I created this children's story. Precious and Lizzie play hide and seek. And so when I started the Twitter account for Precious, I put, "Hey, my name is Precious. I'm 5 years old at the time. She's now 10. Um, I wrote a book. Look for it soon." And so, I went ahead with my business stuff on Party Aficionado and kind of fun and light stuff and what she was chasing and what was happening in Southern California, who was coming over to the house, how many people she saw when we went to Petco or to some other pet store. So, and that was really fun. And pretty soon, she had several hundred followers, up to 1,000 followers at one point. And then somebody tweeted, "Hey, Precious, when's your book coming out?" Aha, right? At the time, I hadn't even thought about publishing the book or doing anything with it. It was just this fun, cute little story between my mom and I, who my mom had edited the book. She was an English teacher for years. So that was so fun to just have that really fun story. And we shared the actual encounter that Precious had with the lizard. But then I thought, hey, this might be something. I could uh, get this in a book and print it. I've been in marketing and point of purchase and point of sale stuff was familiar to me. So I looked into publishing the book with a publisher, and that was kind of impossible because they don't want to talk to you unless you know somebody or somebody gives you an in. And then the "we'll publish it for you" kind of for money people wanted so much money for something that I was just kind of doing on a whim. So I decided to publish it myself. Long story short, I took all of her followers through the process of getting the book illustrated, finding a printer, and once I got it listed online, and I have it on sale on Amazon and Etsy, which I like Etsy much better. And the first book sold to one of her Twitter followers in New Zealand. And my dog is a global brand now, right? Whether you think it's silly or not, that particular person has purchased the second book. I've been speaking at an annual conference called Bark World Expo, If you are in the pet related business, I absolutely encourage you to go to Bark World. It's phenomenal. The dogs get to go, and it's just an amazing experience. It's a social media conference for pet related businesses. But I got jobs as it relate, because I tweeted for my dog and wrote this book and had these experiences. Now, Precious tweets that I'm a Jack Russell has over 4,000 Twitter followers, right? She has more followers than I do. So, so that's something that I think most people don't get, is that you can be fun and give your animal a voice, your pet a voice, and then from there do even more things. And so something happened to me. Oh gosh, last summer we saw some stray dogs hanging out in our neighborhood. And in Oklahoma, we're big animal lovers. There's lots of water and land here, but there's a big, huge population of strays, and people just are not spaying and neutering their dogs here. So, um, we saw this one dog. Actually, what happened was my mom's newspaper was missing. And, for people who still get the newspaper, that's a big deal. And so the guy says, well, maybe it's those pit bulls that are sleeping on your patio. Like, we don't have pit bulls here. So, uh, so it turns out we did. There were two pit bulls sleeping outside, and very, very young and frail and very nervous to be around people, wouldn't let us get close, but weren't aggressive in any way. And I could tell because they would be in our neighbor's yard whose fence was broken, and Precious and I would be in the backyard, and they showed no aggression towards her at all. The male would take food from my hand, and the female was just, she would run from the food because we tried to feed them over the fence, and she would just run from the food. So anyway, so I started trying to find them homes and trying to find them to get them adopted and nursing them back to health. And then we decided to keep the female. Her name is Nala because she looks like the Lion King lion. And the first male, Rocky, was my cousin in Norman, Oklahoma, wanted him. So we thought, okay, when we get him all ready, he can, we'll take him to Norman and get him adopted. Then another dog shows up, and he kind of forced himself on our new little rescue efforts, and we called him Deuce. He was a Brindle pit bull, much younger, and Rocky was not a fan of his, pretty aggressive towards him. And I'm sure it was because of the whole battle over the female situation. And so we get them all spayed and neutered. There's Nala got spayed, the two males got neutered, got them their shots, and I took Deuce over to Petco to get groomed because they're strays and they're stinking, and they loved being in the house and on the couch, so something's got to give. So while we were at Petco, I let the people know that if they knew of anybody who was interested, he was available. And by the time I went to pick him up, one of their employees decided to adopt him. Wanted to talk to his roommate and folks at home about getting him because they had two other dogs. Agreed that they'd take him. I drove him over. They had two other dogs, fenced in, really big yard. Deuce walked in, jumped right on their couch, which was a little embarrassing because we pretty much spoiled him a little bit, and he was already kind of a spaz, and we spoiled him a little bit. But he was comfortable. I would see the guy at Petco from time to time, and this was back in September. Yeah, this was back in September, maybe early October. Yeah, because we were at a Turn Tulsa Pink event. So yeah, it had to be October. And so that was that. And so then Rocky, the other male, my cousin came to get him, took him to Norman. That lasted about 2 days. And he called crying because his landlord would not let him have the dog. That he's renting a house in college up there, and they refused to let him have the dog. I think it was more about the breed, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So anyway, in all of this process, you're like, why are you telling us this? In all of the process, I started blogging on I'mAJackRussell.com about the process of getting these dogs from being completely afraid of humans and nervous from humans. In fact, Rocky got his name because one of our neighbors, crazy people, were throwing rocks at him. And so, it was just an amazing transition that these dogs went through from being scared of everybody and then probably everybody being scared of them because of the misunderstanding of their breed, um, to just the best, warmest, dogs and spoiled brats you'd ever want to see. So I started blogging and using a hashtag strays in the hood. So Precious would tell the story of the strays in the hood and who went to the vet and who got sick and who got their shots and how they're recovering. um, I use the power of social media to story tell, right, to tell the story of these dogs journeys. And really it brought so much traffic to the blog and people were just really interested in their story. And I would post to Twitter and Facebook their pictures and their story, and people just fell in love with these dogs and I think just fell in love with the story. So the other day, last week, we're just getting our three dog household into a routine. We're thinking, okay, next month is when the two big dogs will get training because while Rocky's not aggressive towards Nala or Precious, he has some issues with men, and we figure he has the issue with had the issue with Deuce. He may have issues with other dogs, so we want to get him socialized to kind of get him out of that piece. So we're just, the plan is going, we're working, we're moving forward. And then I think it was Thursday or Friday last week, I go outside. The dogs are barking, barking, barking at something next door. I look out and it's Deuce. Yep, right outside in the same neighbor's yard where we first saw all of the strays. And I remember talking to the guy who adopted him, and he said, he was getting out of the yard, a hole in the yard. And of course, that made me worry because, that's kind of pits are notorious for jumping the fence and digging under fences. And, but he said he was mostly an indoor dog now. So I didn't really worry that much. But sure enough, he was out there cold and skinny, have no idea how long Deuce had been away from his new home. But he's never been a real big dog, but I mean you could see ribs and backbone, and so when I went out front, he came running up and hugged and was just really happy to see me, and we were happy to see him. Only now what do we do? So I contacted the adopted folks, never heard back from them. So I had a roommate's cell phone and an email, and I tried each of those, text, email, you name it, nothing. And after I didn't hear anything, I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to pursue this too much because those people really don't deserve to have a dog. If one, they let him get out, and two, they aren't frantically looking for him, right? I mean, if any of my dogs get out, I'm overwhelmed. So I'm overcome. It's just going crazy. Precious got lost once, and it was just a nightmare. But so I've used the blog. I've created YouTube videos with just, please come get these, adopt this dog, because Deuce really needs to find another home, because right now we're having to keep Deuce and Rocky separate because Rocky and Deuce don't get along, right? I mean, that's just the nature of their relationship. And so while he's a sweet dog and he's welcome here now, he's been sleeping on the couch and in our bed with Precious. Um, so he's definitely at home, but he's going to need a permanent home. So if you know anybody who's looking for a wonderful brindle male neutered uh, pretty spoiled dog who really likes to exercise, let me know. Contact me. I'll put the link to the blog post about the entire story that I just told you, the strays in the hood. I'll tell you, I'll send you that link in the comments here and in the description here. One of the posts that was the most successful was I asked my mom uh, during the whole process of adopting them and rescuing them. Rather, we didn't adopt them, we rescued them. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have to write a blog post about this whole journey. And what do you think the title should be? And my mom's response was, Love Conquers Fear. And I just thought that was so profound because, we showed love to these dogs and they really just, became their personalities came out and they just accepted us as humans that they could trust. And it was obvious that both of them had been around other humans. Nala's ears had been cropped, and Adus actually had a collar on when we saw him. So um, it was really an interesting post, and that was one of the most trafficked blog posts. And I use pictures, right? I think photography is huge in if you're working with a pet rescue, because then people are looking at it with from an emotional standpoint. And if they're looking to adopt a dog, then that's something that you definitely want to use. So I've used the power of YouTube and Twitter and the blog and Google Plus. There is a social media pet community on Google Plus, several. Um, One called the Dog Park, and then Precious Lawson, my dog, has a Google Plus page, and then I keep up with the animal community over there. So it really helps me to separate the communities that I'm in. So I think it's pretty awesome. On Twitter, if you're looking to get into a few of the social media pet related business conversations, you can follow a few hashtags. Bark World, of course, is one hashtag. If you use the pound Bark World hashtag, it's the annual social media conference for pet related businesses, and a lot of people will connect with them and still tweet throughout the year using that hashtag. The other one is a Nip Club for you cat lovers out there, NIPCLUB. Pet Chat is another one, pound sign Pet Chat. That's every Monday night. There are a bunch of pet owners and pet related folks tweeting about pet related businesses and pet topics. Last a couple of weeks ago, the topic was poop. And so I thought that was really fun. But I actually had some questions about what I was seeing and what these new big dogs were doing that I wasn't familiar with from having a little dog. So it's always great to go in and get information. If you are a pet related business, you want to start joining those communities and sharing within the communities. And I encourage you to meet the people face to face. They're a great group of people. Bark World. There's another pet bloggers conference that happens every year. I've never been to that one, but I think some of the same people attend that conference and then are online as well. So you don't have to necessarily have a pet related business to allow your pet to be the voice of your business. I know a lot of veterinarian offices, pet stores, grooming. You have a pet mascot somewhere. There's always a cat running around that owns the place, right? Or there's a dog that greets everybody when they open the door. I know one hotel has a pet living on the property and is kind of the official hospitality greeter of that hotel. So create a Twitter ID or create an online persona for the dog and or the cat, and let them speak to what's happening in your business, right? Tell people what the specials are and who's visiting for the day. Let them know who's getting a bath if that's what you do, and speak to it from the voice of the dog of how he would promote your business. So if you feel self-conscious about oh, I don't want to sound too salesy, pitchy, or whatever it is that might be holding you back from getting into Twitter or some of the other social networks. Speak from the perspective of your official mascot or your, the dog in charge or the cat boss, right? A lot of people, use the cat as the boss of the whole business or the office, and I love that. A couple really fun folks that you can follow on Twitter are Tillman Skates, the skateboarding dog. Tillman has his own television show now. If you've ever seen the Rose Parade where he's skiing and snowboarding and I don't know, surfing, Tillman does it all. But he has a new show called Who Let the Dogs Out, which is hilarious, and where they look for the next talented dog. It's sponsored by Petco and Natural Balance. This year it's going to be on the Hallmark Channel. So you can, if you follow the Tillman TV hashtag, you can learn all about it because I think it starts this week. And you'll be able to see when the shows are coming on, when you need to, if you need to DVR it or whatever. But really good kind of conversation, and you can watch the show and talk about what Tillman is doing or what's happening. And that was always fun last year when the show was on Animal Planet. Um, let's see. Is there another? Of course, you can always follow I'm a Jack Russell on Twitter, and make sure you send a tweet, and I'll make sure to follow you back. If you're tweeting as your pet, if you're not if you're not tweeting as your pet, you can follow me over at Party Aficionado or Social Media Tulsa. But because I try to stick with pet related business or pets, tweeting pets on Twitter so that I don't get a lot of humans in the Twitter feed for I'm a Jack Russell. It's a preference. Everybody has one. But anyway, so I wanted to give the example of even just getting started with social media and how I started doing it for my dog's account and how it's kind of benefited me from a business standpoint, but also from a rescue standpoint. I've used my interview skills and video and YouTube to get other pets adopted. I just hope against hope that somebody will see the post and video and hear the story of Deuce and understand that this dog needs a wonderful home and somebody who wants to keep him inside and can play and run and do all those things with him outside because he needs to have a pretty good schedule, needs exercise, and wants to be around you. If you want a dog that wants to be around you, this guy is it, as he is asleep by my feet. So I'm pretty good at spoiling dogs, and I apologize if you're the one that's going to come adopt Deuce, that he's pretty much spoiled rotten, but you'll love that about him too. Anywho, so I rambled a little bit, and I apologize for that, but hopefully you get why you want to use social media if you have a pet-related business, and how fun it can be, and then how much work it can also be to creating content for your animal. But we have a good time doing it over here, and hopefully some good will be done from it, and we'll get Deuce a really, really good home. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for listening. I think I'm almost at a half hour. I'm sorry I talked so long. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.